It says, given that it is January and there are plenty of your users taking part in dry January, and it was January, we just lapsed just barely. He says, or reducing or eliminating alcohol altogether, as evidenced by a few great threads on the forum. I thought it would be interesting to get your take and maybe a Coach Chad deep dive on non-alcoholic beers. If the thing that we've been talking about that you should join us on YouTube for, I think Chad's, I don't want to say you're 5 beers deep because I don't think that you've really gotten much of these ones down.
He's tasting.
5 sips deep.
Yeah, 5 sips deep.
Yeah.
So he says, I know you regularly touch on alcohol and its effects on our bodies and the priority and the priority its removal is given to by our bodily systems. But I would love to hear some analysis of non-alcoholic beers. Chad mentioned last January that he was about to start trying some out, and given that he is, of course, a fan of good beer, I think his opinion would be interesting. Of course, these are potentially less nutritional calories than other foods that may be, and he says in quotes, better for us. But do you see a place where a non-alcoholic beer fits well into the performance-minded athlete's life? Thanks in advance, and looking forward to your feedback. From Will. And this makes sense because I just want to recap really quick. We've covered alcohol before. If you look up Ask a Cycling Coach podcast alcohol, you'll see that where it's just hard to find any redeeming qualities of alcohol itself, except for when we talk about the ability to unplug, relax, and kind of in the psychological benefit that you get.
And
from
with
that.
very moderate intake, there is a correlation with reductions in cardiovascular disease. So there is some upside to the occasional glass of wine sort of thing, but I don't think that's what we're really talking about here. People want their after ride beers, they're after race beers.
Yeah, I'll pray.
And yep, exactly. So I do actually think there's a place on a few levels, and then once I started to dig into this, I actually saw that there are some potential health benefits, and obviously the alcohol content in beer flies in the face of those benefits, and maybe doesn't totally fly in the face of them. They're still there, but you have to kind of package it with a literal poison. So I understand why people would want to drink non-alcoholic beers, but actually drinking them is proving to be something else entirely. We got a few. I mean, I'm nothing if not thorough. So here we are with 6 different beverages, and some of them are stinkers and some of them are palatable, but only barely. However,
we should run through the deep dive, and then we should share your winners and losers from this list.
Yeah, I only just a small cross section of what's out there.
And one last thing before the deep dive, on behalf of all the listeners, we thank you for your thoroughness.
You're welcome.
Willing to do this.
You're welcome. Yeah, I got nothing for it. I mean, but they're at least low calorie, very low calorie in some cases.
There we go.
Non in one's case. Okay, so first, it's important to understand that I am a beer drinker, and I fall victim to a whole purchase by ABV sort of approach. I like big booze beers, and it's typically because I just drink a beer at a time, so like a lunch beer and a dinner beer. Occasionally, Occasionally, I'll have 2. So in any case, the higher alcohol seems to go with higher flavor. I mean, there's definitely a connection there. Yeah. So I have a beer classification system, a beer by ABV. ABV is alcohol.
He'll let you know if he sees you. If he's got one of the beers and he sees you drinking something else, he lets you know.
You'll be in a certain class.
For those who don't know, ABV is alcohol by volume. So that's the percentage of alcohol in your drink. I've reclassified because it wasn't so PG before, so now it's fully G rated. Anything under 6%, I call it fruit juice. And I know it's grains and flowers. There's no fruit in it, but it's the equivalent of fruit juice because you're getting so much of, how to put this? It's like fruit juice. I mean, you basically take out what's really valuable in it.
So it'd be like Bud Light, Coors Light, stuff like that.
Yeah, really anything below 6%. And there's a lot.
Yeah, but those are the types of beers.
Yep. Lagers usually. Ales usually kick upward. And then anything from 6 to 9%, that's where I call it a session beer. So all these sub 5, sub 4, sub 3% beers that are deemed session beers so that you can drink a lot of them. I don't get it. I don't want to drink a lot of beer. I just want to drink a little bit of really good beer.
Opinions of trainers.
And then finally, anything above 9% is proper. That's my term. That's a proper beer.
That's close to wine. Some of your beers are just like large glasses of wine.
In terms of alcohol content, yeah, that's true. Okay, so first off, non-alcoholic beer is anything with less than 0.5% ABV, so 0.5% or lower. In some cases, you can find completely non-alcoholic, 0. And in that case, and in all cases, lower calorie and typically non-diuretic. Or they are if they're below 0.5%, so they won't dehydrate you. That's a good thing right there. Still serves as the reward. if you can get past the taste. I mean, that's I'm trying real hard. But, if you're used to lighter beers, then making the jump to a non-alcoholic beer is not going to be as big of a leap as a guy who prefers higher alcohol beers. So what follows, I have to thank a website called steadydrinker.com, which isn't what it sounds like.
Is it about you?
No, it's not. It's about non-alcoholic beverages.
I just want to think of like that person's children when they're at school. They're like, what does your dad do? And it's like, oh, he's a steady drinker.
Have you ever been to steadydrinker.com?
Sorry.
Yeah. So, okay. So on this website, steadydrinker.com, they tied to a lot of studies and little bits of information on some of the benefits of even non-alcoholic beer. And this applies to beer across the board, really, because it's the ingredients of beer. It kind of diminishes along with alcohol. I mean, the lower the alcohol, the lower the content of some of these things, but let's not get hung up on that. There are benefits that go with both alcoholic and non-alcoholic beer, one of which is the brain release of dopamine. So you're still getting these little reward center triggers. They attribute this this study attributed it to alcohol-associated flavor cues. So at some point, you had to have the alcohol associate the warm fuzzy with that flavor, and then you get a little bit of it when you drink a non-alcoholic version of it. That's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then, by the way, all these studies will be linked to. I applied links that Tucker can slap into the forum. Similar brain-related reward tied to consumption experience of beer flavor. So again, it's not tied to the ethanol or the alcohol content of the beer so much as the consumption experience. Just the idea of drinking a beer can be enough of a motivation to, make you tough out those last couple of intervals or to feel like a reward after a race, etc. Mm-hmm. There are non-alcoholic components of beer that inhibit thrombogenic activity. So thromboses are, circulatory blood clots. Mm-hmm. Those never end well. There's no upside of a thrombosis. And if, non-alcoholic components of beer can diminish the likelihood or decrease that activity, that's a win. Mm-hmm. Phenols. We've talked about phenols. In many cases, polyphenols usually, these are antioxidants. And while they are lowest in the non-alcoholic beers, there is an antioxidant quality was clearly superior to that of vitamin antioxidants. So they actually say because of this antioxidant synergism in beer, so the combination of the ingredients, that the antioxidants in this form are more healthful or more productive than just popping a pill, which is, strictly that one antioxidant or blend of whatever.
Chalking up a lot of reasons.
Yeah, right. There were a couple studies that showed, in this case, the phenols or the antioxidants inhibit atherosclerosis, which is the arterial plaque accumulation that narrows our blood vessels. It creates a problem, especially when combined with the thromboses I just mentioned. Reduces cholesterol. Let's go ahead and throw away those statins, drink beer. And lower blood triglycerides. All desirable outcomes, right?
Yep.
Linked to all those studies as well. And then a couple studies that showed the non-alcoholic beer reduces inflammation and reduces the incidence of respiratory tract illness, right? So chest colds. Yeah.
Nate just stepped out really quickly. Nate, there's lots of reasons to drink. That's where we're going on this.
You're gonna want to watch this later. And then when it comes to rehydration, there was one study done by the Journal of Applied Physiology where beverages up to 2% alcohol content don't impact recovery from dehydration. So they actually rehydrate. It's more the content of alcohol isn't enough to turn it into a diuretic.
Got it. And tipping point has been reached.
Exactly. And then hops. So hops themselves, which are an ingredient in, I'm pretty sure, every kind of beer, ales, lagers, everything. There are antibacterial components. So hops contain a high concentration of both alpha and beta acids, and these inhibit the growth of what are called gram-positive bacteria. So this is a particular type. I mean, just antibacterial doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing, but in this case it does, because these gram-positive bacteria are the Staphylococcus, Streptococcus, Pneumococcus, the bacteria that cause diphtheria and anthrax. So these are bacteria that obviously are not desirable.
I want to say, I'm doing this live, so I'm probably wrong, but this is really this and some type of fermentation of wine has helped humans in places where bad water sources were to have fermented alcohol, so you could drink that low alcohol, still be hydrated and not die.
Yeah,
I think Benjamin Franklin says he has some quote about.
Yeah, he does. That's right.
Where in water there's bacteria, and in wine there's life, and in beer there's like friendship or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyways,
it's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I butchered it, but you Google it.
That's okay. Paraphrased.
Thanks, Jed.
Sure. Okay, back to hops. Another study showed a sedative effect of non-alcoholic beer, and this was done on healthy female nurses, but it apparently raises a neurotransmitter called GABA, which is a topic we could touch on at another time. But anyway, it had sedative effects. So, relaxing, helped them sleep. Then when it comes to hops and grain, they're both rich sources of silicon, which strengthens bones. And a book I'm reading at the moment called Eat to Beat Disease. Eat to Beat Disease, say that a little slower. Author William Lee, MD. He talks about a particular, I think it's a neurotransmitter. I don't know. It's called xanthohumerol. In one study where he looked at people who were drinking 5 to 7 beers per week, so we're talking like a beer a day, they saw a 33% reduction in risk for kidney cancer, a 24% reduction in risk for colon cancer, which they directly attributed to xanthohumerol. Interesting. So just a constituent or a component of, it might have been beer, it might have been part of the hops. I lost the plot at that point. But and then finally, vitamins and minerals in beer. We got B2, B3, B6, B7, B9, which is folic acid. Pregnant women, hello. Enjoy. I'm totally kidding. Oh
my God.
Non-alcoholic beer. We're talking about non-alcoholic
with a 0%.
Yeah, exactly. B12, calcium, potassium, zinc, iron, selenium.
You're gonna tank us.
Listen, and sodium. There's an electrolyte in here.
Yeah.
Come on. You should do this.
It's basically a rehydration beverage.
When we do triathlons, you should only drink this one right here.
I don't think I can. Honestly,
you can do it.
Can we cover winners and losers right now?
Yeah, I turned the losers away. I don't want to defame anybody.
Which ones did I taste?
He tasted this one and this one.
So which ones?
So the ones that are the most lagerous. So the IPA didn't work. The hazy IPA didn't work. The coffee cream brew berry didn't work. But the two that tried to keep it closer to lagers, which are already low alcohol beers, they're tolerable. I mean, I wouldn't buy them. I wouldn't drink them by choice. And then this one, this Lagunitas, it's more like a seltzer. It's actually quite enjoyable, but it in no way makes me think of beer.
It's all zero.
It's a non-hard hard seltzer.
Yeah. That's actually exactly what it is.
Got it.
So I like that one. What's that one called, Chad?
Athletic Brewing Company. First off, right? I think this is one that someone on Strava recommended to me, and it's called Upside Dawn.
Nate's like, of course I like that one.
I don't even know if they consider them lagers or ales or anything. They're just non-alcoholic.
That's actually pretty good too.
Both these are okay, especially if you're coming from the lager side of things. Oh yeah.
He's pointing to the hard seltzer, which the hard seltzer is
Lagunitas.
Yeah,
so Lagunitas is called Hoppy Refresher.
And then the other can.
And then the other one is by Partake Brewing, and it's their blonde.
Cool.
So Tucker, can you put these three in there? I'm not a big fan of the one in the middle, but on the outsides,
you tried this one?
Let me try it again.
Because it's super similar to this one.
But I think because I agree the relaxation quality of drinking a beer, even though it's not a beer. But I usually don't do it because I work out hard at night and I don't want to interrupt the recovery process and stuff. Yeah. But we just got a new backyard. I have a built-in grill.
Nice.
And I can put a little fridge out there.
Yeah.
And I feel like those two, I would be not guilty. And this is 0 calories. And it's pretty good. And the other, that's the Lagunitas.
Hop.
Yep. And the other one is, 50 calories?
Did you look at that? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's 50 calories, all carbs.
Yeah. There we go. Nate's
up my alley. So
good transition for the next question.
Yeah, that'd be. I'm kind of glad you did that. That'd be kind of fun.
Thanks, Chad.
They'll have a real beer and be
several for the team.
Yeah.
If you like that video, you should subscribe to our channel. There's more where that came from. And even like the video down below with a thumbs up or leave us a comment.
If you want to see race analysis videos, click right over here. And if you want to get your coaching questions answered, click over here.
And if you want to become a faster cyclist, head over to TrainerRoad.com. It works. Trust us.
Just trust us.
We guarantee it.
Oh, yeah. Or your money back.
It's true. Take us up on it.